My name is Hugh Weber. I'm the president of the New Orleans Hornets. I'd like to welcome you to our event tonight. For those of you that are out of town, welcome to our city, and we've ordered some great weather for you for the balance of the week. We are very excited to be part of this incredible week of entrepreneurship for many, many obvious reasons, but let me start with first our owner, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. He's fighting prostate cancer, and he's asked me to fill in tonight. The value of entrepreneurship is something that's been a part of his life for 40 years. He finished last in his high school class of 164, and his punchline is, don't laugh, he had to work hard at that. And he started working as a janitor in a school that offered him the opportunity to get his GED, a school that offered him an opportunity to learn about business. And he saw a niche, a need, and he worked his butt off to chase it. And he wasn't afraid to ask for help. And those are all tenets that he has applied in his business that you'll be facing in your quest to be successful as entrepreneurs. As we come here tonight as well, we want you to have a good time, because New Orleans is all about working hard and playing hard, and I'm sure you've seen a little bit of that on Bourbon Street. But at the end of the day, you know, tonight is about not only having a good time, enjoying the experience here, but we hope that as all of you become fully funded in your ideas, we'll be back to talk to you about tickets and sponsorships. Because we're not afraid to ask either. So with that, we want you to enjoy. Again, I'm going to keep this brief, and with that I'd like to bring up Randy from Naked Pizza.
Hey guys, good afternoon. I'm Randy with Naked Pizza. I am co-founder with a couple of other guys. How was the pizza, by the way? Real quickly, about a year ago, we were asked to be part of this same week that you guys are participating in, and we found it extraordinarily helpful. About that time, we were a struggling company, about 3 years in the making. Worked really hard on our pizza crust to try to get it perfectly correct, so that we're not a pizza company, we're a social media company that happens to sell pizza, but we have a bigger mission. But you guys can research that a little bit. Talking real fast because our host, or our guest tonight, has to move real quickly. But about this time last year, we were asked by Idea Village to participate in the week that you guys are participating in. But at the same time, Mark Cuban put out something called the Cuban stimulus package, which was genius. He asked for an open forum to get business ideas. We replied to that, and one of the stipulations in Mark's stimulus package was, Randy, if you want to do this, you got to show me how you can raise sales in the next 3 months. Same time, we hooked up with Idea Village, the kids from DePaul. We hooked up with them last year. They were instrumental in helping us create a program that actually allowed us to hit Mark's goals, which are fairly lofty, as you can imagine. So we are now continuing our business relationship with Mark, and very quickly, he's on loan from the Dallas Mavericks, which is probably good for us, but bad for the Hornets. Mark Cuban.
Well, hopefully when you guys go to the game tonight, you'll root for the good guys. First I want to say all my best to George Shin, the owner of the Hornets. He has been fighting prostate cancer, and I saw him a couple weeks ago. He's looking a lot better, so we hope George continues to fare well and get better. And welcome to New Orleans, and welcome to Entrepreneur Week. You know, once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur, and y'all know the feeling when it just gets into it gets inside of you. You know, we've all been in the situation where we've had the idea. You know, you're sitting there, and all of a sudden it just comes on you, and you get this feeling, and you don't start shaking, but you want to either, you know, run through a wall, or you want to just go out and do something, and it's all about the idea. This is the greatest idea. And then you start to realize what separates the entrepreneurs from the folks who have ideas is that it's in the hard work, and it's in the execution of the idea. And Randy and Jeff at Naked Pizza are a perfect example. They had a great start, they had a great idea, they have a great product, actually two great products, their pizza and their social media and their social marketing. But the most important thing for them is they recognized that they had to make sure that the pizza was great, and they had to make sure that their execution on delivering the pizza to their customers was even better. You know, one of the things, I go back and forth with them every week, and I always ask for their sales. Because one of the first things that you'll learn as an entrepreneur, or you probably already know, is that sales cures all. I have these little rules that I just have listed. You know, I carry them sometimes, you know, they're on my phone or they're in my office, because there's rules that you always have to remember. Because one of the problems with being an entrepreneur is you have ideas, you have these things in your head, but you can drown in all these ideas that you create for yourself. So you have to have some core tenets as an entrepreneur that keep you focused on what you're trying to accomplish. And rule number one always is sales cures all. Because there's never been a company in the history of companies that's ever made a nickel without sales. And it's amazing how many companies don't pay attention to that. They want to grow, they want to be big, they want to have hits, they want to have uniques, they want to have streams, they want to have this, they want to have that. But no money, no company. And so you've got to really recognize that unless you're in a position to sell something and put a focus on sales, you're not going to have a company. And then you also have to realize, like I mentioned earlier, you can drown in all kinds of ideas. You have to stay focused. You have to recognize what business you're in and recognize what your core competencies are. Like when I took over the Mavericks, the Mavs, I bought the team in January of 2000. And the only award that the Mavs won for the entire decade of the 1990s was being voted the worst professional sports franchise in all of America. You know, like George said, you know, he was last in his class, he had to work harder. Well, we just sucked, so there was just only one direction to go. And I realized that my product couldn't be basketball. And so one of the first things I did was I went to our sales force, and we only had 5 people. So the first thing I did was I expanded our sales force to 40. Because if you don't have people selling, you're not going to sell anything. Then I recognized what our product was, which wasn't basketball. Because if you think about your experiences at sporting events, no matter what level, you don't remember jump shots. When you think about the first game you went to with your dad, or your mom, or you went on a date, or you got drunk with your buddies, or you went, or whatever it was, you remember the beer you were drinking before you remember the Chris Paul or Dirk Nowitzki jump shot. You remember, you know, the fact that with everybody cheering, you didn't have to talk to your date, which made it a lot easier before you remember the score, right? You remember that it was an experience, and that's what we sell in the NBA now. When I first got in, it was just people just couldn't believe that I didn't want to sell basketball. And to this day, we spend more money on doing in-game videos and doing in-game entertainment than any other team in professional sports or college sports or high school sports anywhere in the world. And we hear it from our customers, our fans, that coming to a Mavs game in Dallas, the experience is something special. So you can go on the date, and there's always going to be something. You can take your kids, and there's always going to be something that entertains them. And hopefully on the court, we're going to win the game, and we're going to show you a good time by hopefully beating the Hornets tonight and sending a lot of people here home unhappy, but that's just the way it goes. But we recognize that our product was fun. That if you left with a sore throat from screaming, sore hands from clapping, sore feet from stomping, that's when we did our job, because we couldn't really control the final score on the court. And so our core competency was fun. And identifying that core competency allowed us to keep our focus and work on that continuously, which impacted our marketing, which means we didn't have to market as much because we